Jeff Bezos said, everything creates 2 new questions and 2 new opportunities. So, what's that new fast blinking light on the camera?
It blinks like that when it's about to die.
Uh-oh. We're back, but these folks won't be. Amazon is set to lay off more than 9,000 employees after already freezing their hiring process, closing some experimental projects, and slowing warehouse growth. Most of the positions will be in web services, people and technology solutions, advertising, and Twitch. CEO Andy Jassy cited uncertain economic environment as the reason for the move, but given the fact that most of my packages spend 10 or more hours 6 stops away, I would have thought that Amazon would be better prepared for uncertainty in their organization.
I'm still waiting for my cute kitty chopsticks.
Glassdoor, the Yelp for the workplace, announced that they were laying off roughly 140 employees. CEO Christian Sutherland Wong went to great lengths to assure the remaining employees in a memo that their vision remains unchanged and that the cuts were only made after all other cost controls were exhausted, including hiring freezes, cutting program costs, and canceling travel and events for the company. The terminated employees will have more support though, including access to career support services. All I'm wondering is if they'll be forced to leave reviews for Glassdoor before they can see reviews for prospective jobs. And for the last set of layoffs, I promise, Veeam, a company that provides security, backup, and recovery solutions for enterprise companies, announced that they're shedding 200 jobs globally. A spokesperson announced that despite the layoffs, they anticipate their overall headcount to actually increase in 2023, emphasizing the layoffs as a transition of priorities within the company. Elon Musk finally told Twitter employees about their new performance-based compensation packages after originally leaving them on a cliffhanger during Friday's workday. The late-night communication detailed new equity grants, separate from the legacy equity converted to cash when Musk took over. Musk acknowledged the radical changes that have been made at Twitter and stated that the changes were necessary as the company was close to running out of money. Twitter employees will be able to cash out on some of their equity after about a year. Musk also took some time to remind employees that working from the office was not optional, suggesting that remote employees only pretend to work, for the most part. In other news, Elon has also set Twitter's stock grants at a valuation of $20 billion. That's less than half that he paid for the company, making it the largest loss anyone has ever paid to make someone else's echo chamber their own. More good old boys are finding out that they can lose their truck, dog, and girlfriend at the same time. A recent survey identified explosive growth for women in the trucking industry. Women now make up for almost 8% of truck drivers and sales delivery drivers. This number is even higher for Class A licensed road drivers at 14%, which includes any driver who can operate vehicles weighing over 26,000 pounds. Women account for a third of C-suite executives in transportation, compared to the nearly 24% in executive positions 4 years earlier. Independence, flexible schedules, and more equitable pay are among the reasons stated for the surge in interest in the field. However, safety concerns remain an issue, with fewer women feeling safe compared to men. Despite this, many women are entering the industry to shape it to be more equal and accommodating. I'm waiting for the first TikTok of someone trying to mess with a trucker and a woman rocking a tire knocker, and an attitude jumps out with the song Britney Spears' "I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman" playing in the background. Disney World service workers could be seeing a significant pay increase soon, as unions have reached a tentative deal with the company. The starting minimum wage could be raised from $15 to $18 an hour by the end of the year, with potential to further wage increases between $5.50 and $8.60 by the end of the 5-year contract, as well as a promise to extend the industry-leading benefits to employees. If approved, this agreement could set a precedent for other workers in Florida's tourism industry. The news comes on the back of a report that Disney is promoting 7,000 employees to park guests, and
They're getting laid off.
Sorry, that took a minute for my blonde ass. And when employees were asked how they felt about being laid off, an unnerving majority either didn't care or wanted to be
chosen.
Sorry. Or wanted to be mascot. And when employees were asked about how they felt about being laid off, An unnerving majority either didn't care or wanted to be Musk-chosen to be laid off. We had 2 images for the opening of the story. I'm glad I could use both now. France is entering its 3rd week of Garbagegate, compounded by other protests surrounding France's president's abuse of power after raising the retirement age without parliament input or the vote of the people.
Fuck you, cookie guy.
Businesses are seeing a 50% drop or greater in the street-level shopping and dining, and piles of garbage are creating symbolic images around the country. Unfortunately, the only thing that officials are learning is that creating police gangs is still a bad idea, often with fatal consequences. France's mobile unit, Brav M, was recently recorded beating a man and telling him, "You won't be getting into a police van to go to the station. You'll be getting into something else, called an ambulance, and go to the hospital." The same unit previously beat a man while he was face down, laying in the street. Fortunately, a spokesperson assured us that the beating was necessary since he was drunk and could not defend himself. It's unsurprising that French police don't want people drawing a correlation to the last mobile force that they established back in the 60s, one that beat an innocent student to death for walking down the road, leading to their disbandment. This video is brought to you by my Facebook HR book group. Details of our book giveaways will be there by the time this video is up, so join today if you're into HR news and literature. It's Monday. I don't have time for water cooler. I don't think you do either, but either way, here's some stories. Someone at the FTC got sick and tired of shady subscription services. Now they're proposing a rule that requires a single click to cancel. You know, the same way you signed up. Companies won't be allowed to leave you on hold for hours or try to upsell you on other products without your permission. Plus, they're going to be required to notify you before renewing and subsequently charging you for your subscription. A con artist was recently sentenced to time served along with restitution after stealing high-profile book manuscripts for years. Also, I'm jealous. Filippo Bernardini stole manuscripts from famous authors by pretending to be the editors and agents. But here's the kicker. He never sold or leaked them. Why did he do it? According to an emotional letter he wrote to the judge, he wanted to feel like he was still part of the publishing industry. Sure, he was stealing from the very people he wanted to work with, but he never leaked the manuscripts and just wanted to be able to cherish them for himself. While the judge expressed sympathy for Bernardini's new autism diagnosis, she deemed the crime not victimless, but ultimately decided against prison sentence. Bernardini, who agreed to pay $88,000 in restitution to Penguin Random House, will be deported from the US and sent back to the UK. Who knew publishing could be so dramatic? Unless you live in a cave, then you've seen the trailers or heard someone talk about the new movie Cocaine Bear, depicting a fantasy telling the events that transpired when a real bear found 40 containers of cocaine in the Georgia woods of 1985. Well, it turns out you can see this bear, and for a price, it'll officiate your wedding. Anyone surprised this is happening in Kentucky? The bear, affectionately named Pablo Escobar, is on exhibit in Lexington, Kentucky, and according to the museum's co-founder, Griffin Van Meter, as long as you feel that the person marrying you, like Cocaine Bear, has authority, then the marriage can be binding here in Kentucky. The lucky couple, Alexandra and Armando, will become husband and wife with a Cocaine Bear as their official witness. The museum will be decked out with flowers and glowing hearts, and everyone is invited to bear witness to this wild ceremony. Come back next week. Who knows, maybe another animal rode the powdery nose slopes in Pablo's memory.
Actually, a cat in Ohio has just found cocaine in its system, and apparently it's commonplace in Ohio to test animals for drugs after they found a coke monkey, too.
You're telling me we have coke monkeys and coke cats, too?
Yup.